The 401 Eastern, and we've got a good number of attendees on, so why don't we kick things off here. Thank you all for joining. This is part 3 of our Cocktails and Competitive Health Insurance series. So I'm just going to do a quick recap and then we'll get into today's discussion. But in March, we went through a little PEO strategy in our Cocktails and Competitive Health Insurance webinar. And then last month in April, we did our special Purple Producers webinar. We launched our difference card level funding solution. Really excited about that. It was a great webinar last month. And I think we're really going to top that this month. We've got 2 awesome guest speakers with us today, Jenn Walsh from Genuine Shift and Martinez Jr. So we've got really an awesome lineup and a good discussion that we're going to have on top of the margarita celebration that Diane is going to walk us through today. So today's discussion is going to be about winning new business now. And we've really seen some interesting trends over the past 12 months. Some of our brokers have struggled a little bit with this virtual environment. Others have really embraced it and they've used it as a way to disrupt the market. They've taken advantage of things like social selling, and they're really starting to win a lot of new business using some digital sales techniques. So that's really what we're going to start to focus on today. Hopefully you all can take away from today's discussion a couple of good tips and maybe a new tool or 2 that you can use to help win more new business, go out there and prospect, but also maybe just communicate better with your existing customers. So hopefully you take some of those tips away from us today. Jenn and Mario have got some incredible insights to share. They're both trusted advisors to the difference card team. We've had both of them speak at past sales conferences, one that was actually in person. I think Jenn came to our White Plains one year, and then Mario did a virtual sales conference for us. So both trusted advisors. They've got a lot of great insights to share with you today. I'm really excited to share all that insight with our broker community and help you all to win some new business now. So with that, Taylor, why don't you introduce yourselves and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hello, I'm Taylor Britt. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing and Sales Media for the Difference Card. So happy to have you guys here with us today. I'm in charge of a lot of really fun things at the Difference Card, but this is probably my favorite thing that we've put together. So happy to have you guys here. As Chris mentioned, you guys are in great hands with Mario and Jenn. We've had both of them speak to us. At one point, I tried to start like a Jenn Walsh fan club. And then Mario's also got gold. He knows his stuff. So you guys are in good hands. Mario, I'm going to pass it to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, excited to be here with you. I'm Mario Martinez Jr., the CEO and founder of Vengreso. We are the world's largest digital sales training and technology company. So excited to be with you guys. And we're going to have some awesome tips that we're going to roll out for you guys today.
Great. And I'm Jenn Walsh and happy to be here. A little over 30 years now, I've been specializing in the employee benefits world. I've been a broker, I've managed brokers, I've led teams, and over the last 3 years, specialized as an independent business consultant, helping high-performing teams grow and then keep by leading their clients. And like you, I've had to pivot, and so hoping to share some really practical tips that you and your teams could put into practice tomorrow to help grow and better communicate with your existing clients. So thanks for including me.
Thanks, Jenn. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Calderone. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for the Difference Card. I've got the pleasure of working with our 50 plus sales and service associates across the country. And one name that's not on our intros right now is Diane from Root, probably our most important guest speaker. So I'm going to pass the baton to her. And this is the time, everybody go grab that Root mixer, grab your salt tin. If you've got some tequila and some ice, go grab that. And I'm going to stop the screen share. And then Taylor, why don't you highlight and spotlight Diane there?
All right. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me, Taylor and Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to come and shake up some drinks with you guys again. Today we're doing the Au Pair Margarita, which I love. I hope you guys love it just as well. So you have your bottle of root Au Pair mix, and it should have been sent. You should have a tin of chili lime sauce. I added a little heat this time. You might want to open the tin, and there's a little plastic bag. You have to open it and just kind of let it loose. So it should just all lie flat like that. Your tequila, and then whatever type of glass you want to use. If you want it on the rocks, you want it served up in a really big fishbowl glass, whatever you like. So I'm gonna let everyone get that. My little trick is that I use a lime wedge to get the sides of my margarita glass a little wet there, so the salt can stick to it. If you don't have a lime wedge because you're in the office or something, you know, water will do, whatever you have. And then this should fit exactly in your little rimmer. So you have a nice little edge.
I love it. That looks great.
Then if you want to shake it up, let's do that. So I'll show you this. So I have my shaker. I have lots of ice in my shaker. And we're going to start with root. So I like to put 2 parts root in there. So whatever kind of measuring, or you can just eyeball it if you don't have something to measure it with, that's fine. You can just do the count 1, 2. And then you have your tequila. I'm going to use some Patron because that's kind of one of my favorites. But I just wanted to highlight a couple of other tequilas that you may not have or might not be used to. This is 21 Seeds. This is a cucumber jalapeno margarita. And I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's another female-owned business. So I love to highlight that. And their tagline is "Girls Call the Shots." So I love them. It's very spicy. So if you like a spicy drink, definitely add that tequila to your margarita. I also love mezcal. And this happens to be one of my favorites, Montelobos. They're obviously out of Mexico, but the agave that they use in here is really smoky and fresh. So if you like a smoky type of tequila, I definitely use more of a mezcal. But I love all tequila, so whatever you want to use is great. So let's go with our Patron. I did 2 parts root, and you can do 1 part Patron or however strong you like it. Not sure how good or bad of a day you're having so far. So if you're having an okay day, then it's 2 to 1. If you're having a pretty crappy day, let's just go 1 to 1. And let's shake it up. I like to give it a good shake. Off the top to my glass. And then just pour it in. Those ratios should fit your glass just perfectly. Cheers. Oh my God, that's damn, ooh, that's really good. So I hope everyone enjoys their root Au Pair margarita. Please check us out on Facebook or on Instagram. We're at Root Crafted on Instagram. We love the followers. We post new recipes all the time, kind of ideas, how to entertain for the holidays. Or on Facebook, obviously, it's Root Crafted as well. We'd love for you to follow us and just check us out. We're a female-owned company. We're a big supporter of small business, and Chris and Taylor have been fantastic to us. So thank you, Difference Card. And thank you to everyone enjoying this Au Pair margarita.
Cheers, Diane. Great drink.
Cheers. I do have to say, we should play a drinking game again, Chris.
What's the word this week?
And I think it should be 2 words: digital sales.
I like it.
So every time we talk about digital sales, I'm going to need you guys a drink, okay? You can keep saying, see, I just said it, digital sales, digital sales. Let's go, let's keep drinking. Thanks so much, guys, and we really appreciate it, and I hope you love this drink as much as I do. And I love this spicy rim on it.
Diane, awesome drink. Thank you for showing us the way there, and thanks for the great mixers. Before I let you go, I'm going to ask Jen and Mario a lot of tough questions today. I've got really one tough question for you, though. Are we doing brown tequila or clear tequila? What's the preferred methodology
See,
here?
the brown tequila is more of like a sipping tequila. I don't really think you want to mix that with anything. So I would go more clear. But I kind of went in the middle. So mine's not clear, but it's not brown. I did the Reposado for my Patron. But it's really whatever you like, Chris. It's your world. We're all drinking in it.
Excellent. Thank you again, Diane. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane. We're getting great feedback in the chat. Everyone is loving it.
Digital sales, digital sales.
Poor Jen. She's got a whole rest of her workday left.
All right, why don't we shift gears now, and we're going to start with the business conversation. And before we ask Jen and Mario their opinions, we want to ask you all, how in this past 12 months, in the past year, how has your new business process changed? And why don't we launch a poll? Go ahead, Taylor.
Perfect. You guys should see a poll question popping up. How has your new business process changed over the past year? Video skills are helping you grow. Are you waiting on in-person meetings to return? Is your life like Zoom, Zoom, Zoom? You're bouncing from one to the next? Or has social selling been a huge lifesaver for you? So let us kind of know where you're at with things. We'll give everyone just a couple more seconds to cast their vote here. Seeing a lot of Zoom. I'm glad that we could make this Zoom fun, because I know everyone has got Zoom fatigue. All right, let's close it out here. I'm going to share the results with you guys. 28% video skills are helping you grow. 3% are waiting on in-person. Okay. 64% with Zoom, 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 and 5% with social selling.
Taylor, great poll there, and interesting results. I mean, I think everybody is getting used to the Zoom situation and using that as a technique to communicate with customers and prospects. There's actually a pretty interesting article and post that Kurt put out, one of Mario's colleagues, about how Zoom doesn't count. It's not technically a digital selling technique. It's really just a tool that we're all using to communicate. So with that, Mario, I'm going to pose the same question to you first. How are you seeing the new business process change over this past year? What techniques and process changes have you seen occur in the market?
Great question, Chris. Well, so for all the brokers that are out there, listen, there's a couple things that have impacted you guys that have made some significant differences, and as well as that have pollinated across almost nearly every industry out there, Chris. And that is, we've seen sellers and brokers, specifically producers, be responsible for looking at new ways to engage with their buyers and or new ways to expand within the relationship. So what do I mean by that? Clearly, we all are using Zoom. So that's a given. That's table stakes, right? Like that's something that we can't move away from. But what we've also seen is producers that are out there have really focused in on leveraging video communication tools to do asynchronous communication. So if we can't see somebody face to face, we can't shake their hand, if you would. We can't give them a hug. We can't take them out to dinner. We can't have a lunch with them. We can't break bread. Those types of things. What we need to be thinking about is actually how to still build that trust so that we can continue to grow the portfolio and to expand our business. And that comes with things like asynchronous video communication, meaning I create a video, I send it to you via email as an example, and you receive it and you're seeing my smile, you're seeing my face, my eyes, my facial expressions, my gestures. You're hearing the things that you want somebody to hear and take away from. And the important part here to understand right here, Chris, is if you think about an email, it's very one-dimensional. You're only using one sense to be able to, on the receiving side, to be able to engage with that particular email as an example. And that is just your vision. But if you actually brought video into it, now you're using both hearing as well as vision to be able to engage with your targeted audience. So that's one area. Another huge area has been, of course, leveraging social media to be able to engage with buyers. It is, when done correctly and done the right way, you can really start growing and building out your network, and you can start mapping out even within accounts and understand, the levels above, the levels to the side, the levels below, of all the folks that you need to work with. So I think a lot of producers that are out there need to be focused on not just the basics. The basics are use the phone for prospecting or engaging with buyers, use email. Those are the basics. But we need to be thinking about, how can I build trusted relationships quicker, faster, better than my competition, like that. And that is utilizing techniques and services like you guys have done at Difference Card, which have done an amazing job at, and that is utilizing video and social to be able to engage with buyers.
Yeah, great point, Mario. And one of the interesting stats you were throwing out there during one of our training sessions was just how prevalent YouTube is as a search engine, right? We all think of Google as the main search engine when people are looking for, how can I purchase competitive health insurance? But YouTube is such a powerful tool, and you need to be able to do video right to have a presence on YouTube. So great point, Mario. Jen, same question to you. Why don't we pivot there, and how has your process changed?
Great, happy to jump in. Well, I think where I first start with this, so if we say new business process, I ask people and restrain myself that before we just jump to process, let's at least do a quick check-in on the new business. So what is the product or service or solution that you're even offering? So I would refer to that as the product. And then the process is really your pitch. I maybe used to go to a networking meeting, or I went in person, or I took someone to lunch, or now I'm using Zoom as a vehicle or something else. That's kind of that process. And both for myself as well as the clients I work with, I've said, look, yes, we need to do a couple of things at the same time, but let's not miss an opportunity to do a check-in to make sure that the product, the offer, is still a solution to the problem that my ideal customer still has. So I think it's a quick pause and to say, okay, what is my offer? And then how am I going to communicate it? And we're going to talk about a lot of different ways today around how to get that message across. But if it's not working, I would invite you to say, before you say, well, LinkedIn doesn't work or video doesn't work, you might step back a minute. So a quick example for brokers, it could be that as a result of this huge group exercise we've all gone through, pandemic, that you used to create contrast via high touch, in-person, on-site customer service. I don't know that as many buyers today consider that a must-have. It could be that that is not as important. So whether I'm talking to somebody the good old days over lunch or in their boardroom, or I'm using video to communicate it, I think those are the things that you just need to step back and kind of refresh. When it comes to the actual then pitch itself, my own personal experience has been, in terms of the sales process, that by leveraging very easy to access, easy to implement tools, people have gotten to know me and decide if I'm their cup of tea, and to decide if they want to work with me before I've ever even talked to them or knew they existed on planet Earth. So sitting in the dining room, maybe 5 months ago, cell phone rings, I answer the phone, it's a senior person from a large regional brokerage firm. Hey, I've gotten to know you while watching you on LinkedIn, and will you come and speak at our conference? And so that changes the sales process, right? So then you think, wow, this is super interesting to me. So I think we'll talk about the ways that those things can happen. But those are the couple things I wanted to share.
Yeah, Jen, I think making sure that you're framing it right and that you've got the right solution too is something very important, right? You can't forget about that regardless of the way you're delivering it.
Right. You could blame the wrong thing. It's like you got to diagnose the right problem. And so it's breaking those things apart to understand exactly where those issues may be as you are testing. That's the other thing I've learned. We're not great in our business at, we like to have work groups and sit in rooms and decide a process and we're going to roll it out. And then we don't necessarily A/B test and then refine. And I think in this environment, getting more used to trying things and adapting is going to be much more successful than pick a thing.
Great point. Mario, did you have another point to make on this topic?
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to come back to something that you mentioned earlier and that Jen was also alluding to. And first of all, we haven't said the word digital sales. So we needed to say the word digital sales. Take a drink, everybody. Hold on. Let me get that going. Here we go. All right. So digital sales, I said that 3 times. You should have taken 3 drinks. But one of the things I really want everybody to think about that's happening right now, and you alluded to this when you talked about YouTube, thinking of this in a very practical sense. If you think of today's buyer, there are 4 cardinal attributes of today's buyer. They're digitally connected, they're socially engaged, they're mobile attached, and they're video hungry. All right, so let's bring that down and let's focus in on these particular topics, especially for producers. They're digitally connected. By the end of this year, it's predicted that 6.8 devices, each of us will have, we'll have each 6.8 connected devices. So you got to ask yourself, oh my gosh, even in a remote environment where some people may be going back and most other business professionals are still holding back, why do we have 6.8 devices? First, that's a laptop, a phone, an iPad, an iWatch, any of those types of things. What are we doing? We're pushing and pulling information. We're constantly pushing and pulling information. In a socially engaged environment, believe it or not, the identification of what people are doing on social media has gone through the roof, and engagement has gone through the roof as a result of, unfortunately, this environment of a remote situation. And that's not going to change. So what should we as producers be thinking about in this digital selling environment? Hey, I didn't say sales, I said selling. So in this digital selling environment, we should be thinking about, how do I show up in the areas that our buyers are at and engaged on, whether that's Facebook, whether that's LinkedIn, or whether that's Twitter. How do I show up there so that I'm front and center in terms of being able to be that face and that name? The other thing I want everybody thinking about is we're mobile attached. Believe it or not, you may walk from your office inside your house to your kitchen, and what is the one thing that you bring with you? That's right. Chris showed it. He just held it up. His phone. We bring our phone 15 feet away or 20 feet away from where we're going. Now, why are we doing that? Because somehow, somewhere, we're going to miss a very important phone call or a text or an email or something, or while we're getting our stuff in the kitchen or water, whatever it might be, we're still checking emails. And so we have to be cognizant of that as a selling community. We need to be thinking about, okay, so if someone's mobile attached, Chris, that means that they're looking at content and they only want to be doing what's called one scroll touch. You're going to scroll one time. You've got 40 seconds, which is the average adult average adult span for a digital task. 40 seconds to capture that person's attention. And then you set it on YouTube. People may not know this, but the second largest search engine in the world is a little thing called YouTube. Happens to be owned by Google. 59% of executives report that they watch, 59% of executives, they watch at least one video per week on business related topics, at least one. So we as producers need to be really thinking about, in this digital sales environment, there you go, take a drink, in this digital sales environment, how do we connect and engage with our buyers in such a way that maps to the modern buying techniques and methodologies?
Yeah, great points, Mario. And I think that 40-second window is big. It's almost shorter than that, right? You got to get their attention in the first 5-10 seconds to keep them watching, and then maybe you get 40 seconds out of them. But it is a very short window to capture somebody's attention on a video, to keep them engaged and watching. And just great points, right? If business owners are watching video, we all need to be producing content. We need to be giving them videos. Otherwise, they're watching your competitors' videos. So definitely a great point to think about. Why don't we take a quick pause? Let's move on to our next question, which is related to tools. and new sales enablement tools that you may be using to be successful in this digital selling environment. So Taylor, I know you just launched another poll here.
Yep, we've got it live. So go ahead and cast your vote. What tools are you using? Are you using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Zoom Info, OneMob, which is a video platform that Mario exposed us to, SalesLoft, or other? If you're using something that's not listed here, drop it in the chat. I want to hear what types of tools you are using, how you've pivoted, how you've adapted. So make sure to stick them in there so we can talk about those as well.
It's like a lot of Sales Navigator.
Yes, yeah. Not surprised to see Sales Navigator at the top of the list. Looks like half of you have voted. We'll give you guys a couple more seconds to cast your vote. We're really curious to see what's working for you these days.
Interesting. Nobody hitting the SalesLoft button right now.
All right, let's share these results. So 44% with Sales Navigator, 29% with Zoom Info, 14% with OneMob, 0 goose egg for SalesLoft. And then other, drop them in the chat. I want to see what you're using.
All right, great results there, Taylor. And it really interesting. I think Sales Navigator is a very strong tool. We can talk about Zoom Info, all search-based tools. So a few of you using OneMob already, some video-based tools. We'll talk more about that. Jen, I'm going to turn this question to you first now. So what sales enablement tools have you seen brokers use to be successful in this environment?
Yeah, so I'd say for myself and the brokers I work with, even just LinkedIn, the core functionality, including the audio and using messaging, that when they do a post, taking that next step to send it to somebody specifically with a custom message and not just relying on the algorithm that it will serve up a message or a post at a specific point in time. I know for myself, I underutilize Sales Navigator. That's kind of on my list to just improve my leverage of that. In terms of tools and effectiveness, the number one thing I latched onto early is Prezi. Now, for people who used Prezi a long time ago as kind of an upgrade from a PowerPoint and something static, Prezi video is extremely engaging. And how have I found, both with clients and prospective customers, has it worked? Because in environments like this, where you are have the opportunity to speak or talk to a group of people, rather than becoming the little talking head up in the top right corner, you can interact and have your slides be behind you, alongside you. Zoom and some other tools are now catching up, but those are, we want to think about how to maximize that interaction and to use a tool when you are presenting, just to be really thoughtful that you are maximizing everything there. So Prezi would be that one. Subtitle, I can't live without. So if you were looking for something to post, particularly on LinkedIn, where you want it square and you want a title and you want transcripts, Subtitle is super easy. And do not tell me you're too old or have no resources. Like, I'm 53, I work for myself. You can't out veteran me in this industry. Like, it is really easy. And you can repurpose content. So if you do a long hour-long thing, you take a 1 to no more than 2-minute clip, you upload it to Subtitle. If anyone wants to check my LinkedIn, yesterday I had done a LinkedIn Live day before yesterday. I took a 2-minute clip, I uploaded it to Subtitle, and literally within 20 minutes, I was able to have it and post it and reference Jason Bay, who you should all follow. He is fantastic on the specific skill of prospecting. So there's that tool, Subtitle. The next one would be any type of screen share you want. So whether it's Loom, whether it's Vimeo, everybody's coming out with something. But to the earlier points Mario and Chris made, if I'm responding to somebody's email, what I will often do is pull up their email and then use that recording to give some color. Hey, thank you for the inquiry. What I have found works best at the next stage in the process is for you and whoever else to jump on a call. And the things I'm curious about learning more about are A, B, and C. It gives them some perspective, flavor for how I work. And one of the things I always focus on with my clients is, how do you create contrast and stand out from somebody else? and foreshadow what it's like working with you. So I think whatever that, I'm kind of agnostic to the tool, but maybe you're not ready to do LinkedIn Live or record an update just yourself, but using that either with your prospects, your clients, or even your coworkers when you're trying to teach them something, super effective. And then finally, Video Ask. Video Ask is an amazing tool. It allows you to get input and exchange quick video, audio, or text to interact with your customers or prospective customers. So I'm happy to fill in the blanks on that. But Video Ask has been an amazing way for me to interact with clients and potential ones.
Jen, some great tips there. Prezi's one that is on my list. I have seen how you've used it. It's really impressive to have like little images coming up as you're presenting. That's powerful. I have not been able to figure it out yet. That's on my list of things to try. And Subtitle's another one. That's a great tool. Great points there. And then Video Ask, I agree. That's a great way to easily interact and get a prospect or a client to use video and respond to you and create that face-to-face interaction that I think we're all craving right now.
That's right. And I think, getting creative how we interact with a customer, so if at the scene of the crime, there's disconnects between client service and a customer, Video Ask could be a very easy, additional, optional way for them to communicate. And you might eliminate 10 other emails by them having a vehicle and 5 other meetings, because everything doesn't have to happen in 30-minute increments, even though Outlook defaults to that. So giving people another avenue, the way they want to connect with you and personalizing the experience. And these are very, very low cost options.
Yeah, great point. All right, let's shift to Mario here. Mario, what sales enablement tools have you seen be successful for prospectors out there in the market?
Great question. So we are all about the prospecting and some of the tools that are out there. And I've got some great articles that I think will be of really big value to the organization, to all of you guys that are out there, all the producers out there. So I'm just going to throw it into the chat right now. I'm going to go through some of these, and there are 2 reference points that you can click on right there to the attendees. Take a look at those, but a couple of things that come to mind, especially when it comes to prospecting. So a lot of the things we have inside these 2 articles would really, you want to roll up to your sales leadership or the leadership team in the organization. But a couple of them that really come to mind that you should be thinking about is a sales productivity tool that is actually created by Vengreso. So our tagline is type less, sell more, and it's called Fly Message. We've got a ton of great scripts that we utilize for connecting on LinkedIn, for being able to engage with different buyers. It's a free tool, 100% free. You just got to use it with Chrome. And it is an auto text expander tool so that you can type in a shortcut. For example, I just type in the words book a meeting. And when I type in book a meeting, it puts a whole paragraph along with my calendar so that if I want to be able to schedule a meeting with somebody, I've got an online calendar link and a message that's already pre-populated. It's fabulous. You'll love that particular one, that particular tool that will help you. You can use it anywhere online on a web setting. And I just threw the link inside there for that. So that's one of them that I would encourage you to take a look at. Another one that's out there is for leveraging with LinkedIn. And you'll see it in one of the articles that I put out there. It's called Crystal Knows. And Crystal does really know. In fact, if you sign up for an account with Crystal Knows, use it on yourself, meaning go to your LinkedIn profile, let it read your LinkedIn profile along with every other piece of information that's out there on the worldwide internet. And watch and see if it nails your personality. Why do I tell you about this particular tool? Well, if you're trying to engage with a particular buyer and you want to be able to know what are their hot buttons, what are their likes, what are their distastes, how should you approach them? Would they like to be referred to as hello Mario versus hey Mario? Then you're going to see that Crystal is an AI tool that allows you to, it serves up content to you that says, hey, Mario would prefer for you to say, hey, Mario, because he's that casual type of guy. But if you were selling to somebody else or you're, reaching out to somebody else, they might be more of a formal type of individual. And so Crystal actually does a really good job in being able to get that information. Let's see, Jen mentioned a couple other tools. I call them video sales tools. Now, if you're a senior leader on this call, you should probably be looking at tools like One Mob or Hippo Video as a way to be able to engage, and Vengreso can certainly help assist in that, in helping the video skills. But if you're a single individual broker that's out there, there are some cool free tools that you have to pay for, like Loom and or Dub, right? There's some free tools that if you want to do more with them and have more videos that you create, then you got to, have a paid for account. And it allows you, at least at a minimum, to be able to actually create some videos and engage with your target buyer. The one that was thrown up there earlier on the poll said Zoom Info. Now, I'm a big fan of Seamless.ai. Now, Seamless.ai is a competitor to Zoom Info, and Seamless.ai actually allows you to download a Chrome extension. And then when you're looking at anyone's LinkedIn profile, you literally click on a find button and it will find that information, that email and that contact information right there from within LinkedIn. If you're a HubSpot user, there is direct integration into HubSpot as well. So if you have your HubSpot CRM as a tool, I really, really, really like that one from a finding someone's contact information on there. And then there's a whole slew of other tools that I put inside there, but those are my 3 top tools that I would give you guys to be able to take away and be able to leverage. And I think there's, I know, there's one more. If you aren't already using a meeting booking link system, you may have heard of tools like TimeTrade, Calendly, even HubSpot has their own meeting integration link tool. My favorite tool is Calendly, and it is, by the way, free. And it's a great way to be able to engage with buyers. Listen, instead of playing email scheduling volleyball and frustrating buyers of the back and forth on emails, one of the things that we teach our students when they're going through our program is when you send a message, you can say, well, here are 3 dates and times, Chris, that that I'm available. Hey, listen, if that doesn't work, attached is my calendar link that allows you to be able to schedule a meeting when it's most convenient to you. And that's a really great way. And right now, if you look at our booking rate using our calendar tool, we have a 40% booking rate, view to booking rate, when you use that particular tool. It's phenomenal. So Calendly is free, but there's quite a few other paid for tools that are out there for both purchase as an organization. And of course, you can upgrade on Calendly or TimeTrade.
Taylor, I actually just thought of one more tool that also is free. And it's, really for those people who might work in a smaller agency or firm, or you work for a really large one, but marketing, or, it's just more of a process. You need to kind of help yourself. Canva. On Canva, you can go on, it's a free tool. With a free tool, you can go on and things like, a quote card or some things that actually look really fancy. You'll find out even the largest brands in the country are probably using Canva. So you too can make something look a bit more professional, post documents, do some things and do it on your own without taking too much time away from sales. But if you need to kind of hack something to get creative, Canva is great.
Yes, Jen, Canva. I love Canva. I send my sales team there all the time when they're like, hey, can you help me create something? I'm like, not right now, but go to Canva. If you can't figure it out, then come back to me. So it's awesome. It's very user-friendly. That's a good one, Jen.
Yeah, great tip there. And just back to Mario's Calendly tool, I think that's one we recently rolled out ourselves, a difference card. And we saw the need as you're doing more video interaction and just the efficiencies you gain. So if you're not using a calendar tool today, check out Calendly or one of the others. You gain efficiencies, but the booking rate definitely goes up. I actually had a lead come through on our website this week, charter school. They wanted to talk about difference card, and we used that Calendly tool. We booked a meeting within a couple of minutes that day, and it just saves all that back and forth about I'm free now or then. So just efficiencies, booking percentages goes up. That's a simple one that everybody should be using to really help to book more meetings and gain some efficiencies. Great tips. There's a lot of info in the chat that Taylor is throwing out there. We'll summarize this too in some follow-up emails, but a lot of good tools to take from here. So let's shift to our third conversation question. And Taylor, why don't you throw up the chat there? We want to just talk about how have you transformed your traditional sales skills? On the webinar today, we have some incredible salespeople, and their whole careers have been in-person selling for the most part, right? Some people great on the phone, others have done webinars in the past, but I think the majority of our producers have been doing in-person selling until the last year. So how have you transformed those skills and transferred them to a virtual selling environment? Looks like we're getting a lot of webinar with cameras on, right?
Yes, yeah. So you got some options here, webinars with camera on, maybe you're doing one-on-one phone conversations. That's still a big thing for you. Your presentation skills just are transferring to video production skills. Like you're taking those and you're using them in a different way. Or are you doing outdoor meetings only? Are you getting together outside? That one doesn't have any hits yet, which I thought more people would have started doing outdoor meetings. Maybe it's just not warm enough yet where everyone's at.
Yeah, summer's coming. We're just getting out of a tough winter. The outdoor meetings are coming.
Yes. All right, we're going to wrap the poll up here. Let's share these results. 80% are making sure they engage with their clients with cameras on. We've got 9% doing phone calls, 11% are using those presentation skills and turning them into video skills. No one's doing outdoor meetings yet.
All right, very good. So I'm going to go back to Jen with this one. Jen, you've actually met me in person. We've done some in-person selling together. Mario, we've only done the virtual thing. So Jen, why don't we start with you? Have you taken those in-person sales skills? And I know you're an incredible presenter. You've presented to our team. So have you transferred those to the virtual selling environment?
Right. I really gave this some thought. I thought, well, traditionally I was able to build my successful sales career being an extrovert and being curious and being a connector. So connecting solutions with people and just really benefiting from, that abundance mindset, and I'm going to connect people, and in that interaction, good things will happen. And so I had to figure out a different way to put those extrovert connecting tendencies to good use. And so one of the things I did was think about, all right, if I can't be with my insurance friends in person over the past year, now might be an opportunity for me to expand my network, look at the business a little differently, going back to my earlier comments about taking a fresh look at what solutions I even want to offer, who else my network needs to know. I actually just this week started introducing, I'm saying it's my 12 quarantine friends, people I met sitting in my dining room that I just went out. And so this process of, how do you identify the people that might make sense for you to know and comment on their posts, engage, show natural curiosity, ask who their ideal clients are, find ways to show up and help and get to know them. And there are ways, so I had to kind of take what I knew how to do, but deploy it differently. The second thing is I really dug in and was working with customers on how do we increase our effectiveness in closing deals. A very specific piece of the sales process emerged as something that needed some fine-tuning, probably needed fine-tuning before the pandemic, but bright light by virtual pitches. And that was the effectiveness of the business introduction. And so that is something I've paid particular focus on. In fact, I just built a standalone workshop on it called Shift Your Intro, because as I examined it, it was why do these problems keep coming up, right? So in a new business setting, when it's virtual, so I've had strong presentation skills, but if you only have a minute or two to convince somebody that you are worthwhile of continuing a conversation, that they believe you, we can't squander our minutes with the mic. And whether that's for yourself or you're bringing in a team, how do we all make sure we're not using 2 minutes to recite our resume, which is what happens when we don't have intention. And so I think that's a very particular piece of the process that anybody here who is thinking about not only new business setting, but how do you introduce yourself to the new chief people officer, the CFO when they drop into your meeting, they're going to make an assessment very quickly about whether or not they trust what you're about to say. And how do we leverage those minutes? So that's a very particular part of that process that I've put together, and I've just posted it. I've only been working with my clients, but anyone who's on this, if you send me a note, a message through LinkedIn, I'll send you back a coupon code. It's like a blue light special because I'm drinking. Like, I don't know, I'll make something up, 50% off or something like that. Under $100 to refine in an hour in a workshop to redesign your introduction. So I think that's my hot tip for this part.
Jen, great tip. And that goes back to just talking about video too, right? I know we're talking about more business interactions and presentations, but it's that same concept that you have a very small window, 5 to 7 seconds, to make a first impression and keep them engaged, right? Especially with these Zoom settings where people can start to do other things very quickly. If you intro well and you get their attention, they're going to listen to other things that you're going to say down the road. So great point. And exciting blue light special there for everyone.
Well, and like how the bill becomes a law, right? There's the prospecting digitally, and then there's the nurturing digitally, but then ultimately we are getting to the finish line and interacting. And I think most of our prospects are not all of them will come back to the office. So even if you are there or part of your team is there, part of their people will still be at home for a variety of reasons. So being able to maximize virtual presentation is not going away, I don't think.
Agreed. All right, Mario, there's a rumor you've done some big keynote sessions. You've done some in-person presenting in your day. How have you transferred those skills to the virtual environment? And what are your clients doing? What are your sellers doing out there?
Great question. So a couple of things that I probably want to comment on. We did some research here. That was, I think about 2 months ago, we completed that Vengreso research. And a couple of things I want to just give everybody some thoughts on is we asked the question, where do you want to work after COVID? Remote full-time, 3 days a week remote, 2 days a week remote, 1 day a week remote, or office full-time. And this is a pretty interesting, astronomical, crazy number. We had hundreds of respondents into this study. 4% said they're interested in going back to the office full-time. 4%. 54% said remote full-time all the way. 26% said 3 days a week remote. So we're talking about at least 75% of buyers in this case that were surveyed identified that they want to be able to be back at least 3 days a week or more back at home and being remote. So this really impacts what we do today going forward and everything in how we engage in terms of being focused on creating revenue. So what are some of the things that people are doing? Well, we've talked about a number of things that people are doing, and that is, making sure that they're engaging with their buyers the way the buyers want to be engaged with, right? We've also not mentioned a couple of other things related to digital sales. Take that drink. Take that drink. And those are the things like, for example, how are you leveraging what we call the omni-channel approach to prospecting? So we've said phone, email. We've said, we talked about video a bit. We've talked about social selling a bit. What else is there? Well, you may not even be thinking about this, but there is this thing called text messaging. Those are some ways that we can engage with buyers today. And you're probably already doing that. But here's the interesting part about this, Chris, and answer your question. Producers such as yourself, brokers such as yourself, we are trying to figure out, if you think of those 5 main ways to be able to engage with a buyer, which is the way that Johnny likes to be engaged with versus Mary versus Susie versus Billy versus Mark, right? Every single person has a different way to be able to engage. And what I want to encourage you to think about is you should be recording these. For example, one of our largest customers is a cybersecurity software company. I can assure you, without a doubt, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with us. And if I were to email this executive sponsor, he never responds. Never. In 2 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars with us each year, never responds to an email. But if I text him between 5:30 and 8:30 p.m., guess what? I get a response. I have another one that has spent near $1 million with us to launch a global sales training program, right? And this organization, it is the CSO. He has 2,000 sellers. If I email him, I get a 1-word to max 5-word response. But if I engage with him on social media, through social media on the back end, we're now having a full-on conversation. So our clients are really focusing in on, and individual sellers, business owners, brokers, they have to be very focused on what it is that you, or that this buyer and that buyer want to, how they want to be engaged with. That's one of my tips I want to leave you. And I want you to consider this important statistic. Did you know that between February 2020 and February 2021, emails went up by 40.2 billion emails around the world? Marketing emails from organizations such as mine, or even the difference card that brought you here to this webinar, marketing emails increased by 62%. Virtual events increased by 1,000%. Ad spend was by 22%. And of course, sales calls naturally have gone up as well. And the number that Microsoft identified was that online meetings went up by 144% on average per person. Holy crud. Like, what? Right? So with all this, we have to be very aware that when we're sending an email, a phone call, a text, a this, a that all this is coming at the same exact buyer, which is the same exact thing that you're dealing with. And you've got to be able to pierce right through that noise. And think of ways by using video as an example, which is part of our sales training program. It's a skill. Chris has alluded to this a couple times. You said it takes 5 to 7 seconds. In our training, it's 7 to 14 seconds to be able to, 15 seconds, excuse me, to capture someone's attention on that particular video. But when you do it right, you can increase your meetings ratio and bookings by sometimes in cases of 35+% that we've seen with our clients. So it's a lot of data that I just threw at you. Hopefully you're capturing it all. I'm going to throw one more article inside here into the chat. And it's probably, it's our second longest article on our site. It's all about prospecting, which I think all of us are interested in. And I go through everything from cadences inside there to the data points that I just mentioned to you. So take a look at that. It's a really long, beefy article, and I think you'll find a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, Mario, the personalization factor, some people have lost that when we've gone virtual, right? The need to do these mass emails takes away from that personalization that you used to do when you were meeting with people in person, right? You would make sure that you knew how to communicate with that person before a meeting. You got to get that back. And that personalization, whether it's text message, video, email, phone, finding a way to get through to a buyer is very, very important. So great point there. And then really interesting comment just about the percentage of people that want to go back. And that's a great segue to our next poll question and our final one. So Taylor, why don't you launch that? We're wondering, how are all of you feeling about the fall selling season, right? I know we don't want to talk about it yet. We just got through the fourth quarter, but before you know it, in a few months, we will be into the selling seasons. For some of you, especially our California team, it starts super early. By August, they are in full swing on the 1/1 business. So what are you feeling like the selling season is going to be like? Is it all web-based, in-person, or a mix? What are you thinking? What's the poll like, Taylor?
It's looking good. It's not too surprising. We're, the majority is coming in here with a mix of in-person and virtual presentations. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I want to see everyone in person again. So I'm hoping you guys are going to will this into existence, that we'll be able to go back to some in-person meetings. All right, let's go ahead and close it out so we can share these results here. So we've got 10% said they're just going to stay web-based only. 6% are going to go back to in-person when everyone's vaccinated. We've got 80% going to do a mix, and 4%, they feel good. Their social selling pipeline is strong. We need to connect with this 4%.
All right, great results there. And we've only got 5 minutes left. So Jenn, why don't you quickly just tell us, what do you think the future has got, right? Go into your crystal ball, and what is this fall selling season going to look like to you? Just quickly in a minute.
Sure. What it's amplified for me and clarified is the importance of niching. And even though it can feel very scary for salespeople who maybe for the last year have not hit the goals they wanted, I find it difficult to imagine being able to operate in 8 or 9 or 10 different ways video, LinkedIn, all these different things, and trying to be all things to all people. So going back to the idea of product, taking a beat before you hit the even busier season and clarifying who your ideal client is so that you can be crystal clear in your messaging on who you serve and how you can help. I think that we can only, we can't do a million different things and pitch it a million different ways. I think I was a history major, not a math major, but I just don't think that's effective. So niche, niche, niche.
Great point. Mario, final comments here, and what do you see for the future?
So I'm going to give you two things, and I'll do this very fast. Right inside of the chat, I put my email address inside here. I'm suggesting that you send me an email. Now I'm out of the office. I'm actually in Hawaii. So this is actually where I'm at. I'm out of the office. And when you send me an email, just put the difference card in the subject line, right? Or difference card webinar so that I know who you are. I promise you, what you will get back from me is something you've never seen before, and it'll happen instantly. And it's my out of office reply. All right. So go ahead and send me an email, mario@vengreso.com. And of course, I'm only out of the office for, the till next week. And the other thing that I want to leave you with is something to help you out in terms of helping you do better at LinkedIn. This is a resource that I know you're going to get on the PDF file that Taylor will send out. But right inside of here is a book. Vivica von Rosen, who is one of our founders. She is arguably the most well-known social media influencer on LinkedIn. And her book, which is on Amazon, it's whatever it is, 10 or 15 bucks on Amazon. We're giving it away free. So if you want to know some ways of how you can rock LinkedIn and help build your personal brand, go at it and feel free to be able to grab hold of that book. It really will help.
Mario, great points, and actually really cool out of office video. I did email you this week and I got a little panicked. I'm like, wait, is he coming to the webinar on Thursday? And I listened to your video, really well done. So I encourage you all, email Mario. He's got a great message to share with all of you. All right, with that, we are going to wrap things up here. I'm going to just share my screen one last time and hope you got some great tips and skills from this. Mario, Jen, great job. Awesome insight. And we would love you all to join us for our next broker webinar. We're going to do one in June, on June 10th. And that webinar will be focused on a new solution from the difference card called the dental difference. We're going to attack the self-funded dental market with our own spin on how to save employers money on dental insurance. So register here. We're actually giving away root mixers and a free rocks glass. So register. Taylor, why don't you throw that in the chat box? And again, appreciate you all joining us today.
Yeah, I'll drop it in. Thank you guys so much for attending. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Mario. You guys gave us
pleasure.
many
Thank
good
you.
resources. I threw a lot at you guys in the chat. I'm going to send you a really nice little neat PDF at the end. So don't panic. You will get everything. And I'm going to drop the link right now for you guys to register for this webinar. So I hope to see you guys in June.
Yep. First 250 get the free glass in June. And we're looking forward to seeing you all then. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.